any trouble, so I can tell.
No,
Up
no,
against this wall here, back a firing squad. Now here we are, in a passageway close here in Edinburgh. But imagine being here in the early 1700s, just to set the scene. Edinburgh at that point was quite small, quite cramped. Originally, the size of the city mounted to, from the Castle Rock at Edinburgh Castle, to 2/3 the way down the Royal Mile to the World's End. And the World's End was literally the end of the city, the end of the street. You had to pay a toll fee to get into the next part of the street. The population of Edinburgh at that point amounted to 80,000 people living in cramped accommodation in tenement buildings up to 17 stories high. People lived in cramped rooms, 20 or 30 people to a room, and the one thing these buildings had in common, they had no sanitation. Imagine that, no toilet. So, the only way you could go to the bathroom was to share a bucket with your housemates of 20 or 30 people. You had to wait to a certain point in the day when you could get rid of your waste. When I say your waste, sir, I mean your waste. You had to wait till 10 o'clock at night till you heard the bells of St Giles Cathedral ringing the bells for Gare de Lou. You would hear dung, 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 then Gare de Lou into the street. For 300 years, Edinburgh continued this filthy habit until Edinburgh was ankle deep in detritus. The Gare de Lou is a bastardisation of the French Gare de l'eau, look out for water. There wasn't always water if you follow me. Now, in order to keep you safe on this tour, I hate for you to get caught short by the Gare de l'eau, so I need to find out where you're from so you can be protected if you're not locals. So we'll start with this group up here. Where are you ladies from? Liverpool, all right? Where are you from, sir? Glasgow. How many from Glasgow? 5 of you down here from Glasgow, Liverpool, Glasgow. Are you Liverpool as well? Okay, you with the ladies up there. Have you fallen out already? Where are you from?
We're from India.
India?
Yeah.
Where are you from, sir?
Atlanta.
Atlanta, okay. Where are you from? Dublin? Philippines. I think you've come the furthest. Where are you from? Glasgow. Glasgow, where are you from? Aberdeenshire. Okay, so there's a few Scots in tonight, but no one from Edinburgh. So please be careful when you wander around tonight. If you hear someone shout at you from above, Gare de Lou, don't look up and go, how do you do? And get a face full of shit. Because of this filthy habit, Edinburgh became known as Old Reekie. Old means old, and Reekie means dirty or smelly. So, welcome here to Old Smelly. This way, please. Yeah, we'll do. Gather around here, please. Gather around here, please. Gather around here, please. Mind how you go. What's your name, young sir? What's your name? Aidan. No more drink for you. Right, okay. Here we are at the Market Cross. Now, just to set the scene, that's what we're heading into. Market in Old Scots, if you don't know market, simply means market. So here we are at the Market Cross, kind of the marketplace. There've been stalls here selling foodstuff, bread, cheese, fish, that kind of thing. But imagine, Aidan, where have you come from? Remind me again. Glasgow. And imagine you come all the way from Glasgow, Aidan, and you're hungry and you're homeless. So Aidan, you decide to rob a stall here of some bread, some cheese, maybe some meat, make a lovely, perhaps a cheese and ham sandwich. Aidan, you take your loot and you run up the Royal Mile, only to be grabbed by the Old Town Guard. They were the police force here, Aidan. They drag you by your hood, drag you here to the Market Cross door, and bring you here to me. Now my job, not only as hangman, was to punish petty criminals. And Aidan, I take a big nail and a big hammer and nail your ear to the Market Cross door. Then passers by, we throw stones at you. rotten fruit or veg to show their contempt that you had stolen from them. Then Aidan would come along and brand you on the forehead with the mark of a criminal. So Aidan, when you returned home to Glasgow, people knew when Aidan was around, everything had to be nailed down. Because Aidan was a wee bit like fingered a bit of a thief. And the only way you could escape from the market cross door was to rip your ear off, leaving half your ear behind. So a word of warning to you all, particularly folk from Liverpool who renowned sheep stealers. Mind your step while you're here. It won't take long to get tooled up and nail all your ears to the market cross door. This way, please. Just continue to set the scene of what we're heading into before we get more in depth on the ghosts and spirits here on this tour. Here we are at the site of the old Scottish Parliament. Now, to give you a little more history and a bit more geography, the new Parliament was built down the Royal Mile next to Holyrood Palace. And when they built that building, they built around an old building called Queensberry House. More of that in a second. Now, this Parliament here had a very important job to do on the 1st of May 1707. That was a year when Scotland and England were joined together to make a united kingdom. And no offence to the English here, we've been trying to get away from it ever since. As you can imagine, this bill was quite controversial. It still is. In order to pass this controversial bill, they had to bribe some parliamentarians. Imagine that. Politicians being bribed, surely not. But they were, to the sum of £10,000. In those days, that was the equivalent of about £250,000. So a lot of money changed hands in order to pass this controversial bill. One greedy parliamentarian was a man called James Douglas, the Marquis of Queensberry, who lived in a house on the Royal Mile, which is now in the centre of the new Scottish Parliament. He had to come up with the crowds of people rioting in the streets, demonstrating their contempt for this controversial bill. In order to get through the crowds, he brought with him his own